Wow. Not the game we were looking for. Coupled with the fact of what time it is currently in New Jersey, it certainly makes these post-game lives extra painful. But the Devils lay another egg, losing to the Sharks in San Jose by a final score of 5-2. Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your very upset host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And this was not the game the boys wanted. Not at all. Painful outing. Just looked out of sorts again. Had our chances. Made the netminder look superhuman at points. But in the end, not enough. Not enough. But, I forget. Win or lose, we booze, guys. Going with the Coronas again. Cheers to all of you who are here. Like I said, given the time and the nature of the game, you guys are some good fans. There's a lot of bad fans right now dooming. I'll get to all them and everything else in due time. But cheers to all of you. What a bad game. Bad game for the boys, and in a familiar pattern, or at least over the past two games. Devils find themselves in a hole early. Eklund gets a breakaway, completely terrible. Dougie looked a little slow getting back, but 42 seconds in, Eklund gives them the 1-0 lead. Mid-period, Kurashev left in the slot alone, blasts one past Allen, 2-0 lead. Then Wenberg gets one. It's 3-0. And at that point, people, the dooming on X is just next level. I mean, why I've said many times I can't stand the platform, just because it just seems to be a breeding ground for negativity. And I suppose it's everywhere. And listen, guys, I get it. Everyone wants the team to be good, but just take a step back. The team is 8-3. I'll get to all that in a minute, but Devils down 3-0 early. Mercer gets one late in the period on the power play. Devils have at least a little life. 3-1 after one, and obviously it was going to be an uphill battle for the rest of the game. And second period, no better. Devils with a lot of chances throughout the period, but it didn't matter. Couldn't get one to go for them. And Will Smith in front, second chance efforts, rips a nice one past Allen, 4-1. Then our old friend Toffoli gets one, 5-1. And at that point, the game's over. 5-1 after two. You're not coming back from that. Super unfortunate. And then Dougie blasts one that gets a piece of Mercer's shin pad or something en route to going into the back of the net. And that's how it ended. Devils, no goals at even strength, 2 on the power play. Mercer with 2 goals on the night. Dougiehamilton with 2 assists. And that's it. I mean, what an absolutely just tragic outing. And the West Coast road trip is off to a horrifying start. Absolutely horrifying start. 13 goals allowed in the previous 2 games. Obviously not going to get it done and not going to be conducive to winning. Getting up 13 goals over a 2-game span is just disgusting. Devils 31 shots on goal. Sharks with 28. Devils winning the faceoff battle, 53.4% to 46.6%. Devils go 2 for 3 on the power play, which is, encouraging. But, special teams did okay, but it didn't matter. 2 for 3 on the power play and kill off both Sharks penalties. Sharks going 0 for 2. Devils with 30 hits. You like to see that. Sharks with 16. Devils 11 block shots. Sharks with 27. Devils 16 giveaways. Sharks with 17 giveaways. Devils 6 takeaways, Sharks 1 takeaway, and that is your game stats. And let me get to the players here. What is there really to talk about? It's just not a good night. Not a good night at all. Bratter with his assist, 2 hits. Gritsuk, 4 shots and 5 hits. Lamico, a shot and 2 hits. Jack with an assist. Mercer with the big 2-goal night, 4 shots and a hit. Dilly with 3 hits. Dougie with 2 assists, continuing his pretty good start to the season. Jake Allen, 23 saves on 28 shots. Not a great night for Allen, but he was left out to dry, and I'm not putting this loss on him at all. Just a bad game. I mean, just another bad game, and it's unfortunate. This West Coast trip is now halfway over. 2 games down and 2 horrible losses. It would be great if they could somehow win the next 2 to go 500 on the trip. I mean, my God, even 1-3 is pretty brutal on the trip, but all things considered, you got to win 1. I mean, you can't go 0-4 on the trip. That would be tragic. But Pesce, guys, Pesce has been a bigger loss than we were all hoping for. It's unfortunate, but Pesce is huge for this team. At even strength, on the penalty kill. Obviously, penalty kill got it done tonight in the 2 on the 2 Sharks power plays, but at even strength, Pesce's missed as well, and it's unfortunate. I am not freaking out at all. I am very concerned, obviously, but it's, and not to make excuses, but this is mainly another season plagued by injuries, and we were able to overcome the earlier injuries for the most part. Nason was out to start the season. That was fine. It's just unfortunate. Pesce is turning out to be a massive, massive loss for this team, and they're going to have to figure it out. I don't know what we see for next game. At this point, I do think I personally have seen enough of Lemico. I mean, he wasn't in the NHL for the past few seasons, and I'm certainly not blaming him for the loss, but I do think I would rather see Mercer back at 3C and then see Hallinan back in the lineup. And if not Hallinan, give someone else a shot on the 4th line. But I do think, man, Mercer at 3C, I think, while not ideal for this team, I certainly think that's a better scenario than what we saw these past 2 games. And it is unfortunate. These guys came into the lineup when the team was on an 8-game winning streak, but and I don't know if we're going to see it, but personally, if it were up to me, I am putting Mercer back at 3C, putting Grits back with Nico and Timo, and throwing Hallinan back out there. Go back to what was working. And granted, that was with Pesce, but the combination of Pesce being out and these new lines, I'm personally not feeling it too much, but man, I'm going to get to the comments here. Brutal. Alexander says, they better show up in LA. I'm not losing sleep over another poor effort, but enough about the negative. Let's focus on something positive. Our power play was good. Yeah, we got 2, but what does it matter when you get trounced? Justin, to see my boy Ace's opinion. Yeah, it was a gross game. It was a gross game. Ryder, I got to go to bed. This loss was Keefe's fault. I am an immovable object on that. Hit the like on the way out. Yeah, thanks, Ryder. Appreciate that. Justin says, not a good game tonight. Brandon, in my opinion, we went from having a special team to a good team. A special team would have had a massive pushback win after getting crushed. You'd think. Unhinged Dev saying, Luke with Casey seemed like a bad pairing to anybody else. Seemed like we were flopping and getting hit more than hitting. Threw a few, but should have taken it to them more physically or more physicality. Never enough physicality for me. But Evan says, we need to be a tougher team. Been too soft lately. Unhinged Devs fan. Yeah, heavier, edgier, more violent. Come on. Justin, I have to say this. My PTSD rebounds minus breakage. Justin's going to bed. Yeah. RJ, I sounded off about Casey last game, and I get he's learning, but I'm not sold on him taking a roster spot. Hope I'm wrong. Well, the reality is, RJ, that he's only here because of the injury. He was in Utica. That's where the team wanted him. And we have not only the injury to Pesce, to Kovacevic as well. If either one of them are in the lineup right now, the team is substantially better, in my opinion. Now, is that going to fix all of the issues we've seen over the past 2 games? No. But does it make the team likely look much better than what we've seen in the last 2 games? I'm going to say yes, but we are without both of them. So 2 of our top 6 defensemen injured, and they were surviving without Kovacevic. And beyond surviving, they're actually thriving. But then once Pesce went down, this is what I talked about all offseason, when a lot of people were gung-ho about let's trade Dougie and this, that, and Nemitz and Luke and all these kids are great. It's a lot of youth on a blue line, straight up. It is a lot of inexperience on a blue line to have Luke, Nemitz, and Casey all playing in your NHL lineup, and you've seen it the past 2 games. That is 1 too many kids for my liking. I'm perfectly fine with 2. 3 is 1 too many. And the results are what they are. It's been painful. Val says, Luke and Casey are our only D-men not to give up a goal tonight. Unhinged Dev Sam, PTSD, big time. I'm driving home, so I can't type or read the comments, but I am listening. Honky Lips, that arena looked empty. Tough loss for sure. Yeah, I do think the Sharks have, trouble drawing. And, NHL games are expensive. And when your team is one of the quote-unquote bottom feeders, it's obviously not going to help for attendance. I actually saw the Devils, the 1920 New Jersey Devils play in San Jose. I had a great time on a West Coast trip watching a bad team. But, Eric, you all still blaming Markey now. Clearly was the defense last game and the defense this one. Allowing 5 goals versus the Sharks is far worse than 8 versus the Avs with far less penalty minutes and shots on goal. Yeah, Markey wasn't great last game, but I wasn't killing him like many people were. I said, he didn't have a great game, but the team did not either. And so when your goalie doesn't play great and your team does not play well, it's a recipe for disaster. And we've given up 13 goals in the past 2 games. Pretty sad. Ride and respect, 12-6 Sharks and high danger scoring chances. Devils were sleeping tonight. Yeah, I caught that at the end of the broadcast. It's ugly night. Unhinged Devs fan, I did not see many high danger scoring chances for us, a few at the end. Well, Palat had 2 or 3 himself. A lot of people down on Palat. And, the dooming is just, Doomer's going to doom. The dooming is at a pretty high level right now. I'm not surprised whatsoever, but this team is 8-3. And I think everyone here would have signed up for 8-3 going into the season. I mean, you obviously would have. People talking about, this October schedule is so hard, which we didn't get any favors from the schedule makers. But people were saying, look at the schedule. Devils will be lucky to win 3 or 4 games in October. You have these games on the road, and then they come home and they're playing Florida and Edmonton. And there's some other good teams in the mix, the Wild. Going forward, at least for the rest of this trip, they need to figure it out. But 8-3 after 11, it's pretty good. Sign me up. And so I'm not going to act like these people that are just looking for reasons to doom. Obviously, these people were radio silent amidst the 8-game heater, and they've all come out of the shadows to complain and whatever else, after these last 2 games. And it is what it is. That is the I don't know, habits or whatever you want to call it of sports fans. The nature of sports fans are a lot of pessimistic stuff, a lot of negativity, a lot of complaining. And I get it. These past 2 games are brutal, but this team is 8-3, and given the schedule, 8-3, yeah, you have to be ecstatic with that. I mean, how could you not? How could you not? Ride and respect. This is why they need to bank points early. This is going to inevitably happen later in the season with whatever injuries we have at the time. Got to win these ones. Ryan says we must beat the Kings. Yeah, not going to be an easy one Saturday night. We'll probably see Markey back in there for that. And hopefully between now and Saturday night, this team, has I don't even know what you would want to call it, but some sort of, wake-up call. These past 2 games have been ugly. It's not losing close games. They're losing badly. 13 goals allowed is crazy. Ride and respect says, I'm sure they'll win some. They shouldn't, too. They just need to play consistently. Yeah, but giving up, goals so early on in games and then giving them more goals, to be down 3-0 is like, you're not going to win many games coming from behind 3-0. Trevor says lots of passengers tonight. RJ says, on a positive note, Jack looks absolutely filthy out there. I mean, listen, Jack's going to produce, but we need to figure out how to get back to being defensively sound and not giving teams too much, too many opportunities. Evan needs to come back strong against the Kings. Cannot afford to go on a 3-game losing streak or even lose all games on the road trip. It'd be horrible. Absolutely horrible. Justin's a bad start to the road trip. Evan, I wouldn't even stay on that long. Ace, this one was bad. No, I know. I know, but I'm not gonna shy away from doing this program after bad losses. As painful as it was to watch the game, and as painful as it is to come on here and often deal with all the negativity, it is what it is. It comes with the territory. We have a show to do here, folks, and we will march on. But wow, Benjamin back-to-back this weekend too. That should be a real hoot. Yeah, we're going to probably see Markey Saturday in LA, and then Sunday night back to Jake the Snake in Anaheim. And I would love to see them win both of those, but they definitely have to win at least one. Ride and respect, for some reason, the Devils of recent have had issues with facing other in-your-face, high-flying offenses. I think they'll have a better outing in LA. I really hope. I really hope too, because like I said, the people on X, and it's not exclusive to X, but yeah, my notifications are lit up right now on X of just all kinds of negativity. So much negativity. I'll deal with that after I get off here. Frank says the bottom six has come back to earth. It has, but I'm hoping we see Mercer back at 3C. I don't know if we will, but I think it's worth trying. Put Grits back with Nico and Timo, and hope that we get a much better result. Trevor says Plot can't stay on the top line. He's just not good enough anymore. I mean, I think this is something that's been kind of beaten to death, and many of us, including myself, wanted that big, physical, skilled winger to play with Jack and Bratter. Palat had some good chances tonight. He just unfortunately couldn't bury one. I still do like Palat. Do I want him playing on the top line? No, but I don't know. People are saying, you're going to put him on the third line, the fourth line. It's not ideal, but here we are, still talking about this. Hokic says, I used to get all worked up after a loss. I'm kind of numb to it now. Let's commit some regicide versus the Kings off with their heads. Brandon, if you're playing top minutes with Jack and Bratter, I just don't get how you only have 1 point as Palat. Well, a lot of times it's Jack and Bratter moving the puck around, and Palat might not get a touch. So he's not going to get those assists. He could have had a couple tonight, I think. He had a couple right in tight and just couldn't get one to go. And it's unfortunate. Obviously, they were at crucial points of the game. I think at least one of them was when it was 3-1. Hopefully they start falling for him. Evan the Destroyer, I wish Mercer got the hat trick. Even with the loss, there was a good chance late. Yeah, he did. I mean, the hattie would have been nice, but in the end, a hat trick and a loss is like whatever. Trevor says, put Cotter on the top line and Palat on the fourth line. I wouldn't mind that. Obviously, you guys know I like Paulie. He's had shifts here and there with Jack and Bratter, never for an extended period of time. I do like Cotter's game and would like to see him get a full game with them, but I don't know that you're going to get that either. And I also don't know that that's going to be, a huge needle moving move either. The reality is this team was looking pretty good heading out, an 8-game winning streak heading out west. And then obviously we're without Pesci. They put Mercer back on the second line at wing, put Lemico at third line center, and it all just kind of fell apart. Frank says, Lemico out, Halo in, got to happen. Yeah, I totally would be on board with that. I said that a couple minutes ago. I think it's kind of has to happen. Put Mercer back at 3C and let him hold that down until Glass gets back. I mean, the Glass injury proving to be pretty large too. And it's unfortunate for a team that wasn't deep at center. When your third line center is injured, Cody Glass, I mean, that's a big deal. Now we have Lemico there. That's a pretty sizable downgrade, in my opinion. I still like Glendening as the fourth line center, but that's a massive downgrade at third line center. And then without two of your top six defensemen, you're going to get some ugly games, and hopefully they get it out of their system, because these last two games certainly were ugly, and we can't really have any more of these. Alex, I watched Lemico in Colorado, and no offense, dude, was kind of ass. Okay. Husky and Chain says, I don't think Corona is going to get it done tonight. Definitely need something heavier, edgier, and more intoxicating. On the bright side, we're 8-3. Yeah, I'll take 8-3 all day, guys. All day. Larry says, wingers got to help out the young D-core. Nemitz will get the blame on that second goal, but that was more on Mercer. D-man in trouble behind the net. The wingers got to be on the half wall. Ben says, LA just scored 2 at the empty net to tie it up. That's scary. Evan, Sharks controlled most of this game. Puck possession, hits, shots, everything was there for them. Too much open space on defense. And listen, the Devils had their chances here and there, but just could not vary them. And they were chasing the whole game. You know, in that third period, the Sharks were just happy to bleed the clock. Jason says, Frank the Tank said the Devils season is unraveling. Well, I think Frank the Tank is generally pretty negative too. Isn't he kind of a doomer? It's 8-3. We're 8-3. We had an 8-game winning streak. Like, I'm not remotely nervous. Snow Devil says Chalowski in next game. I don't know. That's an interesting one too. He's a lefty, so they went with Casey, who's a natural right D. Keith had mentioned that they're trying to keep everyone on their regular side, and so if they do bring Chalowski in, someone's going to have to play on their offside, which I'm never a fan of either. So I don't know. I don't know that that's going to make a huge difference either. I think I do want to see something changed in the forward lines. And I think the one that has to happen is Mercer to 3C. A lot of people are calling for grits with Jack and Bratter. I mean, I'm not against trying that. I've given my thought process on keeping grits in the bottom six for a couple weeks now, since people were calling for it nearly immediately. And I understand people's desire to see it, but I do think the team does have a more balanced scoring, lineup with grits in the bottom six. Because then my fear is, you put him in the top six, then the bottom six just goes cold, and then we're back to a two-line team. But, you're never going to know till you do these things. I'm not against seeing some of these things through and kind of testing them out, but I do think Mercer at 3C with grits, either back with Nico and Timo, or potentially try it out on the top line with Jack and Bratter is certainly something that should be explored. George, defense first mentality was missing again. Everything was going well, and they forgot that wins. Snow Devils, Nason ready for the top line. Nason with peanut butter and jelly, grits, Nico, Timo, Palat, Mercer, Brown, Cotter, Glendening, Halo. Yeah, I'm not mad at those lines at all. That's putting Mercer back at 3C, like I just said, and then swapping. I guess, yeah, you're graduating Nason from the fourth line to the top line. Grits back on that second line, and then Halo back on the fourth. Yeah, I mean, I think something like that is definitely worth trying. And as someone mentioned before, with lines like that, I would also be interested in seeing Cotter with peanut butter and jelly for a little bit too. Evan says if they lose to the Kings and Ducks, the season might be over. I mean, dude, then they'd be 8-5. How is the season over? The season's never over after 13 games. I mean, it's crazy. Come on. Daniel says adversity early is better than later. This team is not last year's team. They'll get through this rut and remain one of the best this year. I certainly hope so. But the Pesci injury is massive. Massive. BC says LA and Anaheim are no gimmies whatsoever. They could easily lose both games. For sure. But you could easily lose any games, and that's the point. Every team wants to win. Every team has good players, and so you got to bring it every single game. The other team's trying to win too. Roman Czechmonic, I have the lowest expectations for this team. Just improve on Palat once you have traded him and don't get ripped off. That's literally, and that cut off. Alex, we let up 13 goals in 2 games. Offense is not the problem. Our defense is giving up way too many chances. It is, but I still would like to see some changes in the forward group too. Just, I think a lot of people have seen enough of the Palat on the top line, which I'm not nearly as bothered by that. And I understand he only has 1 point, and that is kind of crazy, and people are going to harp on that. But I think I'm more bothered by Lemico at 3C than anything else. I don't know. I just feel like that bottom six is getting kind of cold, and I don't want to see that for an extended period of time. I'd like to see them producing. Tooth, I had a bad feeling about the game tonight, but didn't expect to lose this bad. Put it behind us and move on. The team is clearly capable. Let's go Devils. Good night, Justin. Dan says Jake Allen would have won us the game in Colorado. Unfortunately not. I'm not going to say it's impossible. There's no way to prove it. Do I think he would have given us a better chance? Probably. Could we still have lost because the team was pretty bad? Yes. But, there's no point in dwelling on these things. We just lost 2 bad games, and I need to figure it out for LA. I have a secret. Palat does play with Jack and Bratt. He doesn't play top minutes. He only plays 12, 13. Obviously, everyone knows he's not out there every single time and playing the same amount of minutes. But you would think, with whatever ice time he is getting with those guys, you would have more than 1 point in 11 games. I think that's a fair point these people are making. BC said if they lose to LA and Anaheim, our collective Devils PSD will start to flare up. That would be pretty unfortunate. They got to win. They got to win one of them. Trade Markstrom to the Stars for Jake Ottinger. Jason, what makes you believe the Dallas Stars would ever consider that? Yeah, Alex said, I'm sure they'll take that trade. Like, yeah, why don't we just trade Markstrom for Connor McDavid at that point? I mean, right and respect. The problem with these last two is they seem to let these issues snowball in rapid succession early. It's 1-0, and all of a sudden I get up to P and they're down 2 or 3. Got to buckle down. Does anyone else want to see Revo and Dylan have a tilt? Of course. I love seeing Dilly crack some skulls, and I would have loved to see someone pay the price tonight in that horrible game. Maybe get some momentum. Frank, you are what your record says. Bill Parcells. I mean, 8-3 is a pretty good record, guys. I'll certainly take 8-3. George says, like bringing Grits up to the top 6 and moving Palat down. Did Brown play tonight? Yes, he did. George says, amazing to have 8 in the W column, but did not want to slide to 8-6. Obviously, they need to start getting back to winning, but it's without Pesci. This is not good right now. We need to just stay above water while he's gone. Larry says Grits was having great chemistry with Timo on Nico's line. Swapping Cotter with Plot can live with 2 high-scoring lines if the other 2 are defensively sound. We're still going to need some production from the bottom 6. Yeah, Grits looked really good with Nico and Timo as well. George Pesci is a real leader on defense, and they played completely differently without him. Yeah, I mean, listen, and it's not just him. It's him and Kovacevic. Like I've said before, if one of the 2 of them were available right now, I do think the team looks much better overall. But now they're both out, and we got 3 kids out there on defense. It hurts. Alex, we're the Dougie haters, by the way. He's arguably our best D-man this year. Add Pesci, too. In terms of defense, I'll always give that to Pesci. But overall, Dougie's been a force. You guys know where I'm at with Dougie. I talked about it intermittently throughout the summer. Dougie's big. And if this team didn't have Dougie right now, we'd be in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. B. Poi says Palat needs to sit and put someone else in. He's done. There's no way he's sitting. No way he's sitting. Snow Devil says if we lose next game, we're still on pace for a 110-point season. The season is far from over. Daniel, we need to get our line set and leave them alone for a while. Can't have chemistry when constantly rearranging. Well, the rearranging is happening as a function of injuries. And I guess they heading into the Avalanche game, really wanted to get Lemico in the lineup. And as I said in the summer, he was signed to be our 4C. And because he was injured, that paved the way for Glendening to earn a deal after his PTO and for him to take the 4C spot. And then Lemico comes back with Glass being out. They're like, oh, plop him at 3C. But injuries have kind of dictated guys getting moved around. I am with you, Daniel, in that I do like to see lines have some time to get that chemistry and kind of see what they could do. But We need to get some wins. And I don't know what to think about the whole Mercer, back on that second line, which I wanted to see that. But now after seeing what's been going on, I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place, but I think I'm firmly on. I would put Mercer back at 3C. I really do. RJ says, wish we made a play on Geeky last year when his stock was lower. Yeah, Geeky's having a year. Roman, 8-3, I'll take any day. I don't like 8 games of amazing and 3 games of utter implosion. I need to see the consistency and not be a paper tiger. They do give you reasons to doom, but we're still 8-3. Alex said, I remember those Sens and Flyers games last year, Ace, and I was right with you when that was the time to panic. Yeah, back-to-back games on a weekend in January, I think it was. And after that is when I put out the panic video button. It was a lack of character our team had. We might find out soon enough what our boys are made of. Well, yeah, now the next test is Saturday night in LA, coming off of back-to-back losses. Can they avoid a 3-game losing streak? Snow Devil, our defensive game seems to be falling apart without Pesci, but I think it's also because of the loss of Glass. His defensive game is so underappreciated. It's just a bunch of stuff at once. And it's unfortunate. Everything was going pretty damn well for the Devils through the first 9 games. And Pesci goes down, and now it's just a mess. They go out west and never find their footing, and now, the sky is falling to many of these people. Alex Snow, big time agree. I like Glass outside of injury-prone. Roman, check Mana, keep the 4C on the 4C. I don't care that he plays there. Don't have trash touch the 3C. Jason, who's your favorite goalie besides a Devils goalie? Are you talking about all time or current? Current goalie? If we're going current goalie, non-Devils, current goalie, non-Devils, huh? I would probably go, I'd probably go Hellebuck just because I'm a USA guy. Hellebuck would be on the list for sure. That would probably be it. Alex says, Donato is another guy last year I liked, and he's crushing it again this year. Supposedly they wanted a ton for him, and that's why he didn't really get moved. George, by the way, Jack looks great. Tighten up the defense. We'll get through the stretch. Daniel, do you think Dilly is too nervous about the neck surgery to drop the gloves? No, I don't. I think it's fully healed, and I don't think that that's really a barrier, if you will, or a deterrent to keep him from fighting. RJ, night everyone, 8-3. Tough last 2 games. See y'all on Saturday. Good night, RJ. Frank, I trust the people. We have to figure this out and get things right. If I didn't, I'd probably be up in the middle of the night with a bunch of other maniacs like me. Oh, wait. Alex says, Dilly ain't nervous, bro. He's a caveman. Yeah, Dilly's a throwback warrior. Larry, Lemico is partially brought in to help out Lenny, just like Dodonov was brought in to help Gritsuk. Lenny could use some help in Utica, and that's where Lemico should go. I'm not mad at that. Not whatsoever. Snow, after last game, Keefe said he wants to forget about the game and not look back at what went wrong, that we were due for a bad PK. Hope he changes his mind because we're not the same team as last week. Yeah, no, we're not, though. Pesci's out. It's a huge loss. Benjamin Chow, I'll see you badasses Saturday night. Fingers crossed. I mean, let me take a peek back on X and see how ugly it's gotten. Shout out to those listening on X. This is being broadcast simultaneously on YouTube and on X. And the dooming is just at an all-time level here. Alex, Ace, any favorite goalies from way back in the day? Jacques Plante was one of mine. I love the way those old school goalies played. They're all cookie cutter now. No, I can't pick a guy that I didn't see live. But if I had to pick like other goalies that I liked that I did see live when I was a kid, like I enjoyed watching Eddie Belfour, Hasek. Hasek was phenomenal because he was so unorthodox and would just flail around and throw his legs and arms all around. So I did enjoy watching him. But in terms of like the really old school goalies, I don't have an opinion on that. Artie says, I don't know about you, Ace, but I think Nico has been MIA for the last 4 games. I mean, some of the games are going to go under the radar. He's also getting tough matchups and trying to shut guys down, and so he's not going to shine on a lot of nights. But that's because he's, locking down stars on the other team. Nico always is going to give 100% effort. I'm never worried about him. He's the heart and soul of this New Jersey Devils club. But everything's got to tighten up because slop. Roman Checkmog says, I don't have any goalies that I like, especially not Flyers goalies. B-Poi, we played like last year. We lost that winning feeling. David Chimes, how are you, sir? No worries. 2 games losing streak happens. Don't lose 2 games in a row, not starting on time. But I think, I'm not even going to butcher this dude's name. Had to be real good in the second period to keep us from coming back. We show bad in LA. I worry. Oh, no. The slow starts hurt, too. It all sucks, guys. I mean, we lost 2 bad games, and now they have to get back to the winning ways. That's it. That is it. And hopefully a big bounce back game for the team at large, and specifically Markey. I'm going to be devastated if we come out and lay another egg in LA and Markey gets lit up Saturday night. It would be brutal. And the doomings are already bad for a team that's 8-3 after going on an 8-game winning streak. The fact that some of these people are dooming, but if we lose the next one somehow and Markey gets lit up, oh my God, I might. I don't even know, because it's already bad tonight. Team's 8-3, and these people are writing all kinds of nonsense. I've seen this movie before, and the season's over. Same old Devils. Like, where were you people when they were on an 8-game winning streak? Man, Captain THC says, dude, you're a maniac doing this late. Ugly loss. Yeah, it is late, and it was an ugly loss. Alexander the Greg says, to Roman, there's been some likable Flyers tenders like Brizgalov and Emery. I'm trying to think, who else did they have over some of those years? When I think Flyers goalies, I'll always think of Boucher and the Devils getting them in the 2000 Eastern Conference Finals. Vic, what's going on? Hey, sup, Ace? Darn, this one stings, but I guess we can't win them all. Let's go Devils. No, you definitely can't win them all. But wow. Roman Checkmonic says, I'm just playing around because of my YouTube name, but Briz was a national treasure. Yeah, he was the one that came out with like they were talking about the universe, and he was like, the universe is crazy, humongous, or whatever, and he was saying all that weird stuff years ago in an interview. B-Poi says Markey is a light bulb right now. I don't know what that. Oh, yeah. Jason Harrison and Andre combined. Snow Devil, not worried about slow starts so long as we come out strong afterwards. Yeah, but you don't want to be down 3-0 hoping for another miraculous comeback. David Chimes, 8-3 is a great October. LA sucks, ducks and crap. Suddenly everyone will be happy at the end of the trip. I mean, I'll be honest. Like, if they win the next 2 and they come back 2-2, will I be happy that they salvaged 500 on the trip? Yeah. But overall, will I be happy with a 2-2 record on the road trip? No. Realistically, I was hoping they were going to go 3-1 on the trip. Obviously, that's mathematically impossible now after losing the first 2. And they got to respond. Curious to see. We'll find out Saturday, I'm sure, if there's any lineup changes in terms of anybody coming out of the lineup, anyone coming into the lineup, if any of the pairs or D pairs or lines are going to be messed with at all. And I don't think I would take Seamus Casey out. I think I still ride with him in the lineup, but I think I definitely tinker with some of the lines. I think that I would do, even though, like someone pointed out, the offense hasn't been like atrocious, but just to try to get something going, to get the team feeling good. George, need to win a 1-0 or 2-1 game, shut down the other team and be patient. Yeah, old school hockey, low scoring affairs. David Chimes, we lose the rest of the trip. Everyone is going to remember what started in California last season. Oh, no. Yeah, the comments on X are pretty wild. Oh, man, does anyone have anything else? This has been a depressing, quite the depressing evening, if I do say so myself. The game was depressing. Right now is depressing. And it could all be fixed. Or not all be fixed, but it could be. I feel a lot better with a nice win Saturday night. Let Markey feel good. It's a good thing I don't have snacks on hand right now because I'd be drowning my sorrows in a pint of Ben & Jerry's right now if I had it available. Snow Devil says, would love to have any Team USA goalie, to be honest. Would love any Team USA players. Do we have any besides Jack? Really hope Pesci makes the team. Well, Jack is the shoo-in, and then both Brett Pesci and Luke Hughes are hopefuls. Not really sure what the real chance of them making it is. Obviously, Team USA has a lot of talent to pull from, and so it is a very stiff competition. But Luke and Pesci were at the Team USA orientation camp this summer. Evan, what do we need to do on Saturday to win? To play a lot more defensively responsible hockey and not give up quality chances every other minute. All I'm hoping for is we don't get blown out again. No, man. Brandon, I want to win. I'm not going to take solace in a loss and we lost a close one. Like, they need to win now. We cannot have a 3-game losing streak after starting off, or after the first game, an 8-game winning streak. To then lose 3 in a row would be pretty tragic. Got to get back to the winning ways. And hopefully it starts Saturday. Roman, not to do them one more time, but I'm turning the next game off if anything negative happens in the first minutes. Yeah, I mean, 2 games in a row, down early, not good. Not good. For once, it would be nice for the Devils to come out and put up a couple goals themselves quickly and force the other team to chase. Jason, you are a very dedicated and true diehard fan. Keep up the great work. 1:43 a.m. and you're streaming. God bless you. Yeah, thanks, Jason. The nights like tonight are painful, but you gotta take the bad with the good, and it's been a lot of good up until this road trip. 8-game heater. Captain THC, with all due respect, the kids in San Jose are sick, super fast, smart, and skilled. They will be a beast in about 2 or 3 years. With that said, the Devils should have shut them down. Come back soon, Pesci. I mean, it's hard. They have, like you said, they have a lot of good kids. They're fast. They have talent, and when you're already a bad team and you're kind of expected to lose, playing a little looser probably is to their benefit. And so they go out there and they're like, listen, we're in our rebuilding years. No one's expecting us to win a ton of games. Let's just go out there and kind of play spoiler on a nightly basis. And they're going to do it to a lot of teams this year. There's going to be nights where they beat good teams because they are capable. Now, they're still, like you said, a few years away from probably winning consistently. But on a game-to-game basis, they're capable of beating anybody. Art says, is it Pesci being that important, or Markstrom killing the team's vibe? No, it's Pesci. Pesci is that good, period. That good, probably our best defensive defenseman. And when he's out of the lineup, you see it. The pairs had to get moved around. You saw how bad the penalty kill was without him against an Avalanche power play last game. And I'm not blaming Markey at all. It's the reality is Pesci and Kovacevic, 2 of the top 6 defensemen, are out of the lineup. And we are suffering as a result. I do think without Pesci in the lineup, they would always feel it a good amount no matter what. But we would not feel it as much if we still had Kovacevic. Them both being out and having Casey thrust in there and then moving the pairs around, it's just a ripple effect. And it's been a pretty painful adjustment for this team over the last couple games. Repeaser, Speezer, damn, bro, you're up. Respect for the stream, true man of the people. Yeah, thanks. Brandon, it does feel odd how when a core Devils player gets injured, the team plays like hot garbage every time. Well, it's not just any, well, I guess if you're saying core player, well, that's the thing. The bigger the player is to the team, not physically bigger, but the bigger role they have on the team, the more the injury is going to hurt the team, obviously. We saw it when Jack got hurt, struggled with Nico being out at points, Dougie Hamilton. And so, yeah, when a marquee player gets hurt, the team is going to struggle. It's inevitable. You would like to think that you'd be maybe slightly built better to withstand these. But in the end, everyone talks about league-wide how good the Devils' depth is on defense, and it is. But when 2 of your top 6 guys are out in the defense, you see what it is. We're already kind of scurrying here now. And so all that depth gets kind of thrown out the window with 2 injuries. And here we are. David chimes as Kings are 0-2-2 at home. Evan, it could be worse. We could all be Nets fans. Oh, wait, I already am one. I don't even know what that means. I haven't followed anything with basketball in forever, but I was a New Jersey Nets fan while they were here. I did enjoy the Nets. They had some decent years, and they unfortunately ran into juggernaut teams in the finals 2 years in a row. The Kobe and Shaq Laker dynasty. And then the next year, they ran into the Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili Spurs dynasty. Art says, Ace, have you blamed any player? Oh, you must be newer here, Art. I used to blame Vitek Vanacek all the time. Probably a slightly, I probably owe him a couple apologies because, I always did say that, like, the defense was bad too, but there was so many games where, he just seemed like he was completely out of it. But yeah, I certainly blamed him. Captain THC, do you think Edwards might be a better fit than Casey right now? Edwards is more of a defensive D-man like Pesci. All things considered, probably, just because I do think he is a little more defensively sound, but he is also left D. Casey's a right D. Pesci's a right D. And so, again, if you take Casey out and put Edwards in there, someone has to play on their offside. So someone either on left D has to play right, or right has to play left, or you have to move guys to their not normal side, and I don't ever like doing that personally. David says Sharks got 2 lucky goals. Nedeljkovic was very good. We had a slow start. This wasn't close. This wasn't close to as awful as the score. No, but I'm not going to find any comfort in the silver linings or whatever afterwards. It was a bad game. Bad game. Jason said the Nets are 0-5. Okay. Jason says being a Nets fan is like stabbing yourself in the back. I still don't understand how they had, and I understand injuries played a part as well, and they didn't play a ton of games together. But I don't know how, as a team, you could have had at one point Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving and have nothing to show for it. I don't even know what. Not only did they not win anything, what did they ultimately get in trade for those guys? Just a bunch of first-round picks? I can't care about NBA anyway, but you guys kind of gassed me up a little bit with the Nets talk. Captain THC says, I still blame Vanacek. Brandon says, Pesci out for 1 month? I don't remember. We never get concrete timelines of any of this stuff, but the kind of thought process with him, I think, did he go on IR? But whatever the information that came out, it seemed like he's going to be out for about a month. Again, not concrete, but that's kind of what it seems like. Alexander, Luke played on his offside at Michigan, plus a breakout guy and his good skating. Time to put the big boy pants on Lukey boy. Bro. College and the NHL is 2 wildly different things. I think a lot of people still have their concerns about Luke, especially if he's going to be paired with another young guy. I definitely don't want to hinder him in any way by moving him to his offside. I think that would be a tragic idea. And if they were to do it, I would move one of the veteran guys, obviously. You'd hope that one of the veterans would be able to handle that more easily than Luke. Granted, Luke has all the skill, but where he's at with his career and everything going on right now, I personally would not want to see them move him over. Snow Devil says, ever since I started watching hockey, basketball became a lot less interesting. David, all I'm saying is that this wasn't awful enough to lose faith in the team. Oh, I completely agree. The people that have done that are nuts. After period 1, we rallied, just ran into a good goalie. Won't read this as a team mental issue that can't be solved, especially after an 8-game heater. Completely agree. I think the overreactions are obviously going to be rampant. You're going to see people with crazy takes, people dooming, the sky is falling, this is the same old Devils. You're going to see all that. And it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't affect my outlook on the team. But like I said in the pregame, this Devils team without Pesci is not the same with Pesci. And so I don't expect them to play at that high winning level without Pesce. They have to kind of just weather the storm because it's unfortunate. Hopefully him and Glass both come back by December and we could get back to being a dominant club. But in the meantime, we might see some bad games and hopefully not as bad as these last couple. Hopefully they figure it out, but it's not going to be easy. Without 2 of your top 6 defensemen, you will struggle. Brandon says LA Kings can't score at all right now. At least we will get a true idea how bad our defense is without Pesce next game. Alexander the Greg, I don't think Luke and Casey should be a pair at all. I like young guy plus vet pairings. So do I, but we tried that last game and it didn't really work out too well. I always like putting a vet with a young guy, though. 2 young guys. And these are all the reasons why, again, in the summer, I said I'm firmly on team keep Dougie because youth on the blue line is frightening. Frightening. You guys got anything else? This has been depressing. This is one of the shorter post-game lives ever. But given the time and the result of the game, I don't think, I'm sure many of you are sitting here almost in as much agony as I am, conducting this thing. What a time. Yeah, I don't even want to go back on X and look at all these comments. It's going to be brutal. But, folks, it was another ugly one. The Devils in San Jose. Follow up the stinker in Denver with another stinker. Losing 5-2. It's brutal. It's brutal. But, hit the thumbs up on the way out. I appreciate all of you for coming out. Even more, I appreciate you guys for coming out anytime you do come out. But even more so, if you're on the East Coast with the crazy late or early, I should say, the early morning edition of a post-game live after a terrible effort like this. I know after, had the Devils won this game in an exciting fashion or just even won it, period, the adrenaline and everything gets a lot of people fired up and kind of acts like, something to keep you awake and keep you going. But when they lose like this, it's pretty bad. And it's super late / early. But that's it, guys. Back soon. Repeaser, Speezer, I see your comment. Thank you. Yeah, wow. Back Saturday night in LA, and they need a win. A 3-game losing streak would be tragic. I don't want to see it. But back soon. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go.